Good day, my British friends, and welcome to another 1.18 update video. Today's 1.18 video is a little bit different though, and it's all about the 1.17.40 update. Earlier this week, Bedrock got an update, and this update brings even more experimental caves and cliffs features over to that version of the game. But it can't stop, and it won't stop at Caves and Cliffs Part 2. The latest Bedrock update brings tons and tons of bug fixes. Like, seriously, look at these. Have you ever seen so many bug fixes in your life? This is insane. As of this Bedrock update, Bedrock Edition now officially has 0 bugs total. Yeah, definitely. If you enjoy this video, drop a like and comment something down below. It only takes like 5 seconds and it really helps out huge time. Thanks. The first brand new experimental feature that we'll be talking about today is also, at the same time, probably the biggest one. Bedrock Edition now has a brand new biome inside of the experimental features toggle, and this biome is amazing for a big reason: calcite. The biome is called the Stony Peaks biome. The Stony Peaks biome is a warm mountain biome. This is the biome right here. There's lots of stone, there's gravel, and eventually, sometimes if you're lucky, you will find patches of calcite inside of these things. Of course, calcite is amazing. A beautiful white building block. The Stony Peaks biome alone single-handedly makes this stuff so much more accessible. I love it. We love to see it. Now, if you're looking for the Stony Peaks biome, start by looking for a mountain inside of a warm biome. So I don't know if it's just me or if there's a problem or something. It probably has to do with the fact that I'm inside of the Bedrock betas and not just the normal Bedrock. But I've flown around through like 6 or 7 worlds now, and I haven't been able to find a single Stony Peaks biome on Bedrock Edition. That makes me think it has something to do with the betas. This seed in particular is a little bit of a colder one. I did find a frozen peaked mountain inside of this world, but no Stony Peaks anywhere, in any seeds. Now usually that would be a big problem, potential video stopper, but this time, that's not the case. At Minecraft Live, and if you've been paying attention to the latest snapshots and betas, the developers are going for almost perfect 1.18 update parity. That means the Java Stony Peaks does the job. This environment that I'm in right now is actually over on Java Edition, but it is the perfect example as to where you could actually expect to find the Stony Peaks biome on Bedrock Edition. So I have a jungle right here, that's a very, very warm biome, and I have the Stony Peaks right next to it. If I keep moving down this way, we have a savanna, and same thing. Savanna, very, very warm. Stony Peaks biome is a little bit more flat, but it's still stony and peaky a little bit. You see that calcite? Stony Peaks biome, not too far away from the jungle Stony Peaks that we were just looking at, inside of the savanna. Oh no. That's not calcite. The fact that in the latest Bedrock update, not beta, Bedrock has received the final Caves and Cliffs Part 2 biome that it was missing is very significant. That definitely means the Caves and Cliffs Part 2 is getting pretty close now.
Everyone is anxiously, including myself, waiting for this update. When do we get it?
So it's actually almost done. So we're gonna release it in a month or 2.
Okay, yeah. It's not exactly groundbreaking information that Caves and Cliffs is soon, but this is a really good sign. It's great progress. Bedrock now has the last Caves and Cliffs Part 2 biome. That's pretty cool, but moving on. The next feature in this Bedrock update is honestly something that I didn't even realize was going to happen, but I guess it kind of makes sense. I'm in the Bedrock betas right now, which means technically I'm not in the latest update. In the latest update, something like this right here, as long as experimental features was turned on, would never happen. This random cluster of dripstone right here, not inside of the dripstone cave biome. This slightly larger but still random cluster of dripstone, again, not inside of the dripstone cave biome. And even this cluster of dripstone that generated up here on the surface actually, fully exposed on the side of the mountain. Things like this will never happen in 1.18. Dripstone will only generate inside of the dripstone cave biome. I mean, maybe I just missed this change completely in one of the latest Java snapshots, or I'm just completely forgetting about it, but I didn't realize that was going to be a thing in Caves and Cliffs Part 2. I really thought that the random dripstone clusters all over the caves kind of helped to make them a little bit more interesting, but at the same time, I do get it. I mean, dripstone is dripstone. It goes inside of the dripstone biome. I don't know how I feel about this one. I'm like 50-50 torn. On one hand, it does technically make sense, but at the same time, the small clusters of stalactites, stalagmites in the caves sometimes definitely helps like create some variation. What do you think about it? Should dripstone only be in the dripstone caves? I guess a dream solution would be stone stalactites and stalagmites, but that's a dream. That probably will never happen. But it would be so cool. Like the same thing, but in stone. Moving on. At first, it kind of surprised me, but in hindsight, it definitely makes sense. If world generation is getting completely redone, then this is basically like the perfect time to make seed parity happen. In the latest Bedrock update, inside of experimental features, even more parity has been worked on. Interestingly though, in one of the latest Java snapshots, the seed system was changed. And I think that's making some big problems for me. I've been trying to recreate seeds identically on Java and Bedrock for this next part of the video, and I can't do it. I even tried downgrading Java snapshots to lower versions, but it's just not working. Maybe it's bad luck, maybe I'm a complete and total clown, or maybe today is just cursed. I have no clue. These changes are pretty easy to explain though. So the first one that makes Bedrock closer to Java has to do with the mountains. Mountain biomes will now be in the correct places to match Java. Moving on from mountains to ores, ore generation has been changed again. It matches Java. Again. Mob spawning inside of the mountain and cave biomes has also been adjusted to match the Java edition changes. Most likely that's going to mean drowned will now spawn inside of the aquifers inside of the dripstone cave biome. That's cool. The trees that you can find in the swamp biome, well now you'll be able to find them generating in water that is slightly deeper than before. Only slightly though. Java got this change a lot of snapshots ago. Biome placement, river size, and terrain shapes have been tweaked again for a better overworld experience. And finally, back to ore. Copper ore bug has been fixed. Copper ore will now generate all the way up to Y96 instead of 64. Alongside that copper bug fix, there have been a couple other bug fixes that have to do with generation inside of this Bedrock update, including things like villages generating slightly strangely and vines generating on the surface instead of down in the lush caves. That basically does it for new experimental features this week. Moving on to the changes, more specifically the fixes. There have been so many fixes in this week's snapshot. We're going to go through some of the biggest ones, but I'll go ahead and link the change log to this update down in the description. If there's a bug that you've been experiencing and has been really annoying to you, go to the change log, check it out, look for it. Thankfully, all of the bugs are organized pretty nicely. If you do a lot of work with iron farms, or maybe you just have an iron farm inside of your world, this first bug fix is probably game-changing to you. Iron golem spawning mechanics now make a little bit more sense. Iron golems will now only be able to spawn on solid blocks. To be clear, that doesn't have to do with when you're placing them in, it has to do with when they're spawning from like a villager. Previously, there was a really annoying bug that could be experienced in survival sometimes that has to do with eating. I play on Java, and I feel like I heard about this one. Like, that's not good. This sounded really bad. The bug had to do with food and eating in survival. Usually in survival, if you're full, you're full. You can't eat anymore. Well, the bug would allow you to keep eating even though you were full, and if you weren't paying attention, that could cause you to waste more food than you actually need to. In this update, it has now been fixed. You cannot eat when you're full. Okay, this one sounds nasty, like completely terrible. Amethyst geodes are now much less likely to generate in strongholds, and if they do, they will not destroy end portals. You're telling me that on Bedrock you could find a geode that destroyed your end portal? Wow. Did that happen to any of you? Did anyone experience that one? That's terrible. This one isn't really a bug fix, instead it's a small change. It has to do with bee nests. Bee nests will now generate in the world, always facing south. That's very interesting. It makes me wonder what would happen if a bee nest generated on the side of a tree and it was facing south and then the bees just like can't get out, like they're trapped there forever? Or would the bee nest just not generate on that side of the tree? A world generation change. When your world generates, seagrass can no longer generate under lily pads. Previously, it could, and it would cause the lily pads to break, idle around on the surface, cause lag, and then eventually despawn before you even got to see them. Those are a couple bug fixes. There are so many more, like seriously. Those look like some of the biggest ones from this list though. Last but not least, technical updates. Technical updates are technical updates. Anyways, that's it for today's video. Bedrock Update 1.17.40 dropped on Tuesday and brought a lot more Caves and Cliffs Part 2 features to the experimental features toggle. Even more features on Bedrock behind that experimental toggle means Caves and Cliffs is definitely getting closer. If you enjoyed this one, drop a like, and if you aren't subscribed, then subscribe. It will literally change your life. Or at the least, you get a brand new video every day. That's cool too. Huge thank you to my top tier patrons, Fish in a Beanie, Schneebsy, and Pixie Phantom. And thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.